Hi, Ron.
Hello, Kati. Long time no see.
Long time no see.
hmm
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you again. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm very happy that you give me this opportunity to be here and to answer a few questions that will help a few people getting a better idea of what I'm doing and how I can support them.
For sure.
hmm
Yes, the last time I joined your sessions, I had lots of integration to do afterwards. And yes, let's start diving deep in. What are you doing, Ron?
What am I doing? I'm doing a lot of things actually. I'm doing quite a few things. I'm a jack of all trades. I was fighting this for a long time, trying to concentrate on one thing, but that didn't work. And finally, I gave in, and now I divide my time, following different pursuits. Making music. It is taking the most of the focus on my professional activities now is the so-called Kundalini activations, energy work, working with the field. There's different ways to talk about it. Yeah.
Very interesting. You already mentioned like of 3 words: Kundalini session, energy work with the field. So let's talk about it. What are you actually doing?
Yes, it's great that you bring up this question when I was mentioning 3 different ways of referring to it. So I mentioned the Kundalini activation, I mentioned the energy work, and I mentioned working with the field. And this is important to have some clarification here actually, because oftentimes when we hear about Kundalini activation, oftentimes we get to think about energy work, or that's how people is drawn to think quite often. In fact, there's several facilitators out there that they call their Kundalini activations now, they call it energy force activations or energy force work. Well, I have quite a different approach to this. So, I often say that working with Kundalini, which for me is the same as working with the field, is not working with just energy. But I often say that energy is a very small part of it, like the crust of a pie, and then the pie goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And what's below the energy crust is all the information there is in the world. All the consciousness, is everything there is there. Everything is recorded there.
You said it's a field of information. How can I get this quite right? So
Yeah.
information like for the mind, or which kind of information?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the field. What is the field? It's very difficult to define something to which one doesn't have an intellectual or physical access. But let's try to define it by default. What is not the field? And I will go to this thing that you just mentioned. Did you say that is information for the mind? Quite precisely the opposite. To enter the field, we have to put we put the mind at rest. It's not that we have to. It's how it happens. We don't have to do anything. When the mind comes to rest, is when we enter this field. One of my mentors calls this the impersonal field. The field is that place where our personality is not there anymore. What is our personality? Our personality is our mind process, our basic ego. And I'm not talking about this egoistic thing that Sigmund Freud was talking about, but that very basis of our mind that identifies the mind with the body, and a personality is manifested through that. And this is what keeps us alive. Once we are in the field, our systems get closer to a center line of balance. And this means that everything gets aligned, our bodies get aligned, our bodies get aligned, our emotions get aligned, our thoughts get aligned.
Aligned too?
How do you explain that? Some place of balance. Let's say that you got a cold and a virus is working through you, and this is upsetting your whole system. Your immune system is gonna, oh no, alarm, red lights, everything. And you are out of your balance somehow. And once you're taking some measures to help this, or even if you don't take measures, your immune system will be taking measures and will be removing the virus in whichever way the immune system is doing so. And then gradually your body comes back to a state of wellness or balance. So this is the sort of balance I'm talking about. This is a very physical thing that I spoke about. It can happen something in the mind, it can happen something energetically, it can happen something emotionally, that you are a little bit, not in your right place, and then something can bring you back and put you in place. And the field is doing that for us.
So it works on several levels, like a lot, like all levels of the human being?
For sure it works in
Okay.
all the levels, because it is all there is. So when it's activated, when it's activated for long enough, that when it's fully activated, so to say, and a person comes into this field, the field itself will find what's not aligned and put it into alignment. So it's actually not myself doing the work. I will repeat that. I'm not doing the work. The field is doing the work. In a session, I activate myself. I resonate with the field resonates. And once the field is resonating, the field brings whoever is present there into the resonance. And each individual resonates with the field, but not directly with me. It is my aim not to channel anything into people. I don't want to channel anything into people, because that means that I would put something from me into the people, and I want to avoid that. I'm far from perfect. And I don't want to put my imperfections on people. So therefore, how I try to work is, as I said, activating the field that's floating around, the field resonates, and itself, the field itself, or Kundalini, is the one who's working on the individual, doing the changes, making the changes that need to be made at this precise time in this precise individual. And another time for that individual, there would be a different change that needs to be made. And this is what's happening, and this is why people is experiencing something different to some extent from session to session. And sometimes the sessions might be a little bit similar for a given individual, and sometimes they're oh my God, but this was so different today. I mean, this happens time after time. I've been holding a space sometimes for participants, and they get into a very emotional process, and sometimes I get into this emotional process with them, and I have had participants sobbing and crying, and I have found myself sobbing and crying with them.
As I've been visiting your session, you also have done such practices with us before, like activating some channels, or also the breath practice to cleanse. And this was also for me a way better to receive than the session afterwards. So yeah, it helped me a lot to get into a good state.
Yes, true. This is why these practices are there. I handpicked, I cherry-picked these practices, and actually mostly nowadays I decide on the day what I'm going to do. I had a little bit of a routine before, now I'm changing every day depending on who's there. I follow the impulse.
You know.
The breath work is geared towards it's a little bit of a shake-up. Like, okay, because we know what's happening nowadays. Most people spend the days like this, sitting or lying down. I do a lot of it myself. And so then the system is a little bit of a shake-up.
Yeah.
So it's not so dormant, it's not so lethargic.
I remember once I've been to a session to you, you played with us catching before. And
Yeah.
we liked it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was the
fun.
point. That was the point, to get people, to get the blood moving.
Yeah, you've been playing like a kid and catched
Yeah.
people. We also did it.
It's nice, no? So, I mean, obviously there was an intellectual component of doing this, how to get the system running and the energy flowing and blood moving and energy flowing. To me it's the same thing. They go one in hand. It's something childlike.
Yeah.
It's something very simple. Oh, I need to run, or I need to go after someone. Without all of this, am I doing this right, am I doing this exercise right, and am I moving the right way, and I have to look at the facilitator.
That's true, you just have to catch someone or run away, right?
Exactly.
So it's easy.
It's easy. It's very simple.
Yeah, what are your learnings out of, you did so many sessions last year, 2024. What are your main learnings and what's your experience after doing so many of these sessions?
Well, for me, it's a complex thing where how to answer this. It goes in different levels. For sure, after doing so many sessions, of course, the wealth of experience brings confidence to a level that wasn't there before. So, some time ago, I would doubt that something is happening, that the work is effective or can make a difference to people, things like that. Sometimes I was doubting what I was doing, and I was thinking, okay, this is not working. I'm in this session, I'm trying to activate the field around this person, and it's not happening. But of course, that was my mind working. So after many occasions in which I was doubting of myself, and at the end of the session, the participants who I was thinking, they are not getting into the field, they were, oh my God, I want so deep into the field and everything. I was like, okay, so maybe this is just my mind working. How about I forget the mind working so much, and when I'm during the session, I do my work, I activate myself, I'm there at service of people, trying to do what I can do to support, and stop thinking about, I can do this, how cool, or oh my god, I cannot do this, how bad. So I try to deviate from all of this thinking, and I simply do my bit. So this is something I have learned out of doing so many sessions, to trust that the work is getting done. And I mean, to understand that's not me, it's not down to me. I'm there, I'm a little bit like an interface, and I'm not the one doing the work, it's the field doing the work. So I just have to trust that I'm the right interface, and the field is the right field, obviously. So in this much I have learned. I also have to learn how to deal with different people having different types of journey, and to how support all of them in the best possible way. So there are some people that need more, we could say, attention, although that's not really what I mean. Let's say that particularly in the beginning, some people need the field vibrating more. So of course, if I'm closer, the field might be vibrating more. So sometimes I need to be more close to some people. And there are some people that don't need me so close, or it would be better for them that I'm not so close, so the process can flow without disturbance, without the field becoming more strong or weaker as I move back and forth in a room. So it has been a learning to sense this a little bit, but mostly to put my mind away again and perceive somehow how the field itself is giving me hints to do something or something else, how to follow these impulses, to go somewhere, to do something, to do touching, or to not touch, or to just stand there, or things like this.
What was your experience with this kind of information field or consciousness? How did you get to know each other? I mean, you've been in a state of mind, or all we humans are in a state of mind where we sometimes are not able to get these informations or get in connection to this because of this limiting specialties in human beings. But let me know how it was for you the first time you realized this, that there's something for you.
Well, you might know that for some people to delve into this space, into this field, into the Kundalini, for some people it's a reasonably fast process and experience, and they get there quite fast. And some people take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of the latter. For me, it took me a long time.
Okay.
Also, it is the case that for me, I mean, I had a very long progression of being acquainted and paying attention to many different practices for a very long time. I'm talking about meditational practices, and different types of meditation, vipassana, and mindfulness, and many different things. Mantra repetition. I do a lot of mantra repetition. These are things that are working slowly in the system, and they are opening the energy channels. And then as the energy channels are gradually and very slowly opening, so does the experience that one might have. Another thing that I didn't mention, so I was practicing a lot of yoga. I trained as a yoga teacher in the first place, and then as a yoga therapist afterwards. And there was a lot of work on yoga practices, both the asanas and the pranayamas, the breath work related to yoga. And this does clean a lot, prepare a lot the channels for the flow of Kundalini. I mean, that was in fact the...
Interesting.
It was mostly the first reason why the yogis were practicing yoga back in the days, to prepare the body for the flow of Kundalini around them.
Yeah, how was it for you to
Right.
the first time you...
Right. So basically, the first time I took part in a Kundalini activation, nothing much happened. Also, I thought, nothing much. I felt, and this is something that I often say to people that come to my sessions, that it might be the case that in the first session or the first couple sessions, there's not so much of an experience that people may have. For some people it's immediate, but for some others it takes some time. And I was one of them. And however, we might not experience something quite consciously, the Kundalini, the field, is nevertheless working, whether we perceive it or not. It's working in the background, it's changing our subconsciousness, cleaning up the subconsciousness, starting to increase the superconsciousness. And these are processes that not necessarily are perceived in the beginning. When the perception for me started, for me it was, I had a bridge during which I was doubtful of whether what I'm feeling and perceiving, is it because of I'm in this session, or am I making this process myself? Because I was going through experiences that I was going through while I was meditating myself. And then I was trying in the sessions I was trying to really put myself to rest. Don't try anything, don't do anything, don't try to meditate even. It's very difficult to do this sometimes. Don't regulate your breath. How do you not regulate your breath once I have said that? It becomes very difficult. But yeah, my experiences had in the beginning to do mostly with energy flow and waves of heat and coolness and waves of tingling, which are experiences that many people report. Yeah, and from them it kept evolving more in the realm of emotion, in sometimes going towards movement, impulse for movement, which is also oftentimes common, not necessarily for everybody.
What could someone like this individual could expect from your sessions? How would you treat them, and how could it be possible that they see the sense behind those sessions?
Let's say that one person doesn't believe in rain, and then it starts raining, and the person says, "Oh, I don't believe in rain." Are they getting wet? Yes. It might be that for a while they go like, "Oh no, that's okay, that's not really wet, I'm kind of dry," but it keeps raining, and eventually they're drenched. And when they're drenched, it becomes the moment when they're thinking, "Okay, I'm wet."
We'll realize sooner or later, you say, right?
Yeah, but it really is like this, no? And I mean, it's fine, it's just a natural thing. And again, when they have come to our session thinking, oh, this is a lot of bull and it's all fake and phony and etc., why are they there? Why are they there? Of course, a part of them is thinking, no, but a big part of them is thinking, but I have to, I don't know, I have to go there and make sure that is what I think. I'm going to prove them wrong, but I need to go there to prove them wrong. If you were so sure, you didn't need to go anywhere. If you're coming to a session, it's because you have to be in the session. Right.
Yeah, thank you, Ron.
No, I think we're done, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's good. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.